I had a chance to review your negative response, and I did have a few questions that arise. My first question was that you stated that the whole process of extracting minerals from the moon was too expensive, but wouldn't the rare elements provide an economic boost that will provide more than enough funds for it?
Actually, the way that you have to look at that is not that having more elements will provide more money. You kind of have to look at the supply demand factor. If we have a huge supply of these, then they're no longer rare earth elements. Now they're plentiful earth elements. And the amount of money that people are willing to pay for them is actually going to drop significantly. So it wouldn't really be as effective as you'd think because they wouldn't generate as much revenue. They wouldn't cost as much.
Okay, that's fair. Also, as I mentioned in my affirmative video, there are also private companies investing in extractions of resources. Doesn't this provide enough reason to believe that it would be beneficial and profitable for us to go back to the moon despite initial investments?
Not as much. No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to leave it at no.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think that, again, it goes with the supply-demand thing. If you have all these people that want it, it's not gonna cost us.
That makes sense. All right, and as you mentioned in your video, you mentioned us experiencing consequences of CO2 emissions in the near future, and I state a safe haven on the moon won't be useful since your data suggests it won't be possible anytime soon. What are your alternatives that would be cheaper and faster?
I'm actually really glad that you asked this question. Professor Miller knows I did a speech about this in his class last year. There are so many different ways to reduce carbon dioxide emissions in the environment. I mean, there's different ways that you can use the greenhouse effect actually to our advantages. There's different ways that you can take the carbon dioxide that's being emitted and actually displace it into soil and have fertilized soil. There's different things that people can do as far as reducing energy use, different clean cars, clean gas. There's all kinds of stuff that we can do on Earth to reduce the harm that carbon dioxide is doing. We can actually take it and make it our benefit.
Okay, makes sense. And although my nationalistic pride and American ego provided my desire for the United States federal government leading in resource extraction, is it possible for other nations to take advantage and establish their dominance if we allow them to begin the process of extraction first?
It is possible, but what I have to ask you is, how are other people going to feel about this? The moon isn't something that I think we can just decide. The moon is ours. We're one little country on Earth. It's a big world. And, if one little country decides this is our moon and these are the guidelines that we're going to set as to how we use it, that kind of opens up possibilities to war and, other countries kind of being like, hey, you don't get to decide that. So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it to start a global conflict?
Okay, yeah, makes sense. All right, and that was it.
Thank you. I hope that it worked.